The IRS said this Valley man owed them tens of thousands of dollars. And he says they destroyed his business, but he was actually owed a refund the whole time.
This is a remarkable story. A Fountain Hills man is arrested out on the golf course, facing 35 years in prison after the IRS accused him of tax evasion.
Now, the only problem, the man didn't owe any taxes. In fact, he got a refund, and the charges against him all but vanished, but not until doing a lot of harm to his business and his family. Randy Wallace explains.
Where's your golf?
Yeah, my golf's back.
When are you going to golf?
Before the IRS came knocking, Michael and Vicki Quill lived a charmed life. High school sweethearts, married for 30 years.
We were all in naval aviation in one way or the other.
Michael was in the Navy. Vicki's late father was also a military man. But the couple's respect and trust for the government is forever changed.
We just don't do this to people. That's what I thought.
The reason behind the couple's recent trust issues with the government? 3 letters, IRS.
Yeah, I just was having a real hard time imagining that you can go to jail when you don't owe taxes.
Even though a 6-week trial proved Michael Quill owed the IRS nothing, the way it stands now, he must spend 10 months behind bars.
It's not what it did to me. It's the people around me. It's real hard.
Before all the IRS press releases tarnished his reputation, Michael Quill was known in Phoenix as a prominent businessman. He donated thousands to charities, even taking a special interest in a young man's debilitating spinal cord injury.
He just graduated with a degree in psychology.
But last year, all of Quill's success was overshadowed by the IRS's highly touted criminal case against him.
I would never wish this on anybody, actually.
In the high-profile IRS prosecution, the government accused Quill of being involved in secret foreign bank accounts, willful million-dollar tax evasion, multiple conspiracies.
Well, anybody that did not know Mr. Quill and who read the IRS propaganda would believe that he was a horrible human being.
You know, I invest in a lot of different companies. I'm usually the first investor in the door.
Upon the urging of his tax attorney, Christopher Rush, Quill says he opened up Swiss bank accounts.
He starts seeing news reports that if you have an involvement with a Swiss bank, you're supposed to come forward.
Those reports prompted Quill to seek advice from Rush. He says the tax attorney advised him to do nothing, not even submit an IRS form that's required for anyone who has more than $10,000 in a foreign country account.
Most people did not even know the form existed. Most CPAs didn't know it existed.
Everything was represented in the beginning as being legal, so I didn't think at the beginning it was any big deal.
Even if charges were filed, Quill says his tax attorney assured him he could turn himself in and avoid being arrested. But on a bright Sunday afternoon while playing golf at his country club, Quill learned that was all a lie.
Because the IRS CID agents, they showed up at the club, were in the clubhouse showing badges and guns.
There was no way he was going to get out until Monday.
His weekend arrest meant Quill had to spend at least one night in the county jail.
Anyway, there was people bouncing off the walls. It was crazy.
The Quill soon discovered crazy had come to stay.
Finding out about it was hard in the first place, but going through the trial, I think, was probably the worst. It had a huge effect on me and my family, mostly the kids.
One of the most shocking things to emerge from the 6-week federal trial was Christopher Rush's role. Remember, he was Quill's tax attorney. Ever heard the term attorney-client privilege?
In this case, it went in the trash can.
When Houston tax attorney Michael Menz got involved, he had a real mess on his hands. Turns out Quill's own attorney, Chris Rush, turned into the government's star witness.
While he was representing Mike Quill in this case, he found himself indicted in this case.
In his deal with the government, Rush pled guilty, throwing client after client under the bus. He's still awaiting sentencing. We tried contacting Rush for comment by email addresses and phone numbers. So far, we've heard nothing back.
The government spent a lot of money on this case.
I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that.
But did taxpayers get enough bang for their buck? Probably not once you hear the end. All of the most serious charges, the ones that had Quill facing 35 years in prison, ended in dismissals or not guilty. He was convicted of filing incorrect tax returns. The mistake, his attorney says, didn't cheat the government. It cost Quell, who ended up with less of a return. Quell's 10-month prison sentence is now on appeal.
If you make a mistake on your tax return, is it possible that you could do time in prison even if you don't owe a tax? Right now, the answer is yes.
Basically, I had a nervous breakdown at the end of the trial when it was over.
Even though the government failed to prove the most damaging charges against him, Quell says the damage the government did to him, his family, his businesses is irreparable.
Collateral damage, I guess. Why does anybody's family have to be collateral damage?
The government's case caused such havoc for his companies, Quell says 1,000 people lost their jobs.
To me, it was like a disease because it affected so many other people, so many other lives. It was so unnecessary.
In Houston, Randy Wallace, Fox 10 News.
Although facing a minimum of 10 months for filing a false tax return, the judge ruled no jail time for Quill until his appeal can be heard. An appeal, Quill's attorney says he expects to win easily.